Buenos dias a todos. Hi, I am Tom. Welcome to this special IT conversations session from the ITQ studio, where we will be looking back at a very successful VMware Explore 2023 event in Barcelona. I have invited a couple of very interesting guests in the studio. Francisco Perez, founder of ITQ, Jeffrey Kusters, CTO, and Johan Van Amersfoort, Technologist, with whom I will be looking back to the event. And we will also have a look at a couple of live interviews that we have made on site in Barcelona with some special guests. But first, I want to thank Runcast, Agile and Rubrik for making these live interviews possible. So thank you very, very much for allowing us to do that. So let's kick things off. Private AI was a very, very important topic at the VMware Explore this year. And Jeffrey Kusters had the opportunity to interview Chris Wolf on site in Barcelona. Let's have a look at what they talked about.
Welcome to a new live report from VMware Explore. With me is none other than Chris Wolf. Chris, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity. Great to talk.
Yeah, so I know you're on a tight schedule, so let's dive right in.
Sure.
Private AI, some major announcements, I think. Again, you know, reinforcing what you guys announced in Las Vegas. For the audience, can you give me like the brief overview?
Yeah, sure. So think about it this way, right? You want AI, but you don't want to give up your data to get it. You want to be able to bring AI models, AI compute to wherever you want your data to be. And that's what's really key about the VMware strategy, is first bringing models, bringing compute to the data, maintaining privacy and control of your data, but then second, having optionality and choice. The AI space is moving too quick. You just can't bet on a single AI solution. You need to bet on an AI platform that can give you choice of solutions that might be right for your business now, or if you have to change your mind or do something else in the future.
So Chris, if you take a bit of the customer perspective in, and even the partner perspective, AI is, of course, it's taking over the world by storm. What you also see is that, you know, people are kind of wondering what are the real use cases. We see them, I know that you see them. What are some of the key things you want to highlight?
Yeah, so there's a lot of use cases, and I think the thing to keep in mind here is many of these are more attainable than you think, and they're going to cost a lot less than you think too. So if you want to stand up a chatbot to do customer service that has far more intelligence and can reduce your support calls and things like that, that's a fairly turnkey use case that we're seeing a lot of customers glom onto today, that you might be able to use a very small model, and in some cases even use CPUs instead of GPUs to be able to run inferences and be able to gain value. Another common use case would be code development. So we've rolled this out internally inside VMware, and again, you can use a relatively small language model to back-end this, tune it maybe against some of your own data, and then start immediately starting to see value. So these are fairly cookie cutter. Most organizations have these. Even for the VI admin, if you're trying to get some help with scripting, these coding assistants are really good for that too.
And during the keynote, Chris, you also showed us the reference architecture around Private AI Foundation. What's the purpose of creating that reference architecture? How will it eventually help customers and partners to implement AI use cases?
Yeah. So we announced Private AI Foundation with NVIDIA at Explore US. So this will be an AI solution, a full private AI stack, factory shipped from Dell, HPE, or Lenovo. But then we also have a reference architecture. So some of you are saying, I'm not going to wait for this factory solution, I want to do it tomorrow. And with the reference architecture, you can. It's more than 60 pages of content. It's everything from storage, networks, compute sizing, depending on the AI use case. We also have a GitHub repo with code samples that you can take advantage of to automate the deployment of the stack and start to gain immediate value. So that's ready right now, and my advice is try this out and give us feedback. Let us know what's working, what's not working, what else you need us to do.
Yeah, great. So if you look at the ecosystem around private AI, well, the launching partner that you announced the solution with was NVIDIA, right? You're opening up the ecosystem towards other partners as well. Can you explain a bit? Yeah.
So the core for VMware is we want to provide private AI infrastructure. That's first and foremost, and then we're looking to partner in other parts of the stack. Like if you're an AI ISV, work with VMware. We're not going to compete with you. On the compute side, we had a major announcement with NVIDIA, and this week we announced VMware Private AI with Intel. So that's taking advantage of their 4th generation Xeon processors. It's taking advantage of their Max series GPUs. So alternates for AI compute. We also announced that we have joined the UXL Foundation, which is aligned on the One API that was originally developed by Intel to provide a open source approach to being able to programmatically access hardware accelerators, which we also think is important and important to interoperability.
Yeah, amazing stuff, Chris. And ITQ has had an AI practice for quite some time. We've helped customers kind of kickstart, their platforms, get going, make use of the GPUs. So I'm super excited about the opportunity. And I want to be respectful for your time, Chris. And thank you so much.
Yeah, and I would just say this, ITQ has been a really important partner to VMware for a very long time, going back decades now, and we can't do this without your help. So thanks for your partnership.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Chris.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching. Stay tuned to the channel for more episodes coming live from VMware Explore.
Hey, now beaming up Jeffrey from right next to Chris Wolf to right next to me here in the studio. Jeffrey, CTO of ITQ, welcome.
Thanks, Tom. Good to be here.
Well, Jeffrey, let's take a couple of minutes to have a look at the technical announcements that have taken place at VMware Explore. Yeah. And let's start, with the interview that you just did with Chris Wolf. Private AI was a very, very, very big thing this year, right?
Yeah, it's obviously a big thing, AI in general. So it was really exciting to interview Chris Wolf. And yeah, let us just zoom in on some of the announcements at the event. So in Las Vegas, they already announced the partnership with NVIDIA around Private AI Foundation. They just reinforced that message to the audience, of course. Yeah. And what's interesting that they already have 2 new partnerships lined up. The first one is with Intel. So Private AI Foundation on Intel. Which is very interesting because they actually have use cases where you can leverage the latest generation of Xeon processors to do AI on CPUs. I think up to this point, at least my perception was, you always need a ton of GPUs to do AI on-prem, and that's not the case with Intel anymore. So it's a bit more extensive, a couple of software solutions from Intel on top as well. Yeah. But yeah, let's keep it at that. We have a ton to cover today. Yeah, and the second big announcement was bringing IBM Watson X to on-prem. So you can now do on-premises Watson, which is, I think, a very interesting use case for specific customers who are looking to use things like Watson, but have data privacy concerns. Data gravity in general is a big topic, of course. Yeah. And I think that's the whole message around private AI. It's bringing the AI to your data instead of bringing your data to the AI. So I think that's a really exciting revolutionary place to be in. Absolutely. Also good to mention is that they have now announced a reference architecture on how you can quickly stand up and consume private AI. So it's a public white paper. So yeah, please look it up and see what's in there for you. And they have this such a rich ecosystem of partnerships and open source tooling like Kubeflow, like PyTorch, a big partnership with Hugging Face. So VMware is obviously, well, they're very much invested in making this a success for on-prem. Yeah, so maybe it's also good because that was one of the topics that I discussed with Chris. Sometimes you do get a feeling like this is still so far out, AI, that's not for my business. Yeah. So I had a small conversation with Chris about it. And interestingly enough, recently in the news here in the Netherlands, 2 of our customers were in the news with their AI initiatives. We have the academic hospital in Groningen, UMCG. They are creating a chatbot to answer some very high-level patient inquiries, so patient questions. And CM.com, they were in the news with launching their own chatbot. So yeah, that for me just reaffirms AI is not a thing of the future. It's here today, and ITQ is very well positioned to help our customers as well.
Wow, that's really great to hear. VMware also made a couple of announcements around the VMware Tanzu platform, really reinforcing their cloud-native strategy, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Tom. And I think what's really interesting is that if you just look at the general session, how much percent of what portion of the keynote was attributed to Tanzu. Yeah. That was the first time, to be honest. Tanzu has always been an important project, a large investment for VMware, but it's always been kind of in the back of all the infrastructure news. Yeah. And now it's front and center. It's really it belongs in the VMware storyline. Purnima did the biggest part of the keynote. Really interesting to see that as well. And there are some major announcements within Tanzu. You want me to go in already? Let's dive right in. We have a lot to cover.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I think first and foremost, the simplification of the portfolio and the go-to-market. I think that's really key. Let's be honest. The Tanzu portfolio has been all over the place. Lots of changes, lots of new products, renames, and so on. Yeah. It became quite confusing. So thankfully now it's much simpler. You have an application platform that can be either Tanzu application platform or Tanzu application service, the Cloud Foundry stack. And it's mainly about Kubernetes or a highly opinionated platform as a service, like Cloud Foundry. Underneath, you have Tanzu Data Services and Tanzu Intelligence Services. And that's the whole story. Yeah. All the products are captured within these three pillars, and it makes it really easy. And this will be the bundle, by the way, in which customers can buy these services. It makes it much more easy to position this.
That's really good news.
And it's all about developing, operating, and optimizing cloud-native applications. So this is just from a messaging and rebundling perspective, but I think it's really important. I think two areas we should dive in a bit are the Tanzu Data Services and the Intelligence Services. So let's start with the first one. Tanzu Data Services. This is a collection of services that you can really easily consume as a developer. So your platform teams can almost with a click of a button provision these data services, and think of Greenplum, SQL, RabbitMQ, Gemfire, all these cloud-native database offerings. They can be provisioned fairly easily by your platform engineering team so that your developers can consume them, can connect them in their applications. So this is, I think, really essential if you want to do cloud-native applications. And Tanzu now makes it really easy to consume these services. The second one, Intelligence Services. This is a bit of a mix, so in terms of rebranding and kind of repurposing existing solutions. VMware moved some of the VMware vRealize products into VMware Aria. Now they're pulling back some of the new stuff in the Aria portfolio, and they're bringing it to the Tanzu portfolio, which makes a lot of sense. Just think about things like granular cost control with Cloud Health. Think of Tanzu guardrails, so setting setting guardrails around your cloud environment. These are all controls that allow you to shift left for your developers. So on an application level or on a cluster level, developers are now able to see their footprint in terms of cost, but also in terms of green ops, for example. So their CO2 footprint. So you see that the developer will become much richer and will make more profound decisions in where to land a certain application, how to optimize it, what size of database to use, and so on. So there's a lot of stuff going on there as well. And there are also some interesting product announcements around TAP and Tanzu Application Service. I think first and foremost on the Tanzu application platform, the Spring developer framework, it's now a first-class citizen of TAP. So that means that you can quite easily bring your Spring applications into Tanzu application platform. I think this is huge news. If you look at the millions and millions of enterprise applications running on Spring, you can now bring them to TAP and do modern software development there.
Robert Kloosterhaas had an interview with Purnima where they really dive deper into the importance of just that.
Absolutely. I highly recommend to watch that video.
Check it out at the YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Another very interesting development within a Tanzu application platform is the introduction of DORA metrics. And DORA, not the Digital Resiliency Act coming from the EU, but DORA, the institute that measures developer experience and developer productivity. So you can now really measure and quantify how much time does it take from code to production, how much deployments to production do you do on a weekly basis, and so on. So you can really, everyone's talking about developer experience, developer productivity, but now within TAP you can really make it, you can really steer on these metrics. So exciting stuff there. Lastly, we don't have the time to go really deep, but App Engine is coming in, is in a beta now. Really interesting way of accelerating software development. The way that I now understand it, we're still learning how this will eventually work in production. Yeah. But I can, as an application owner, I can set functional requirements, business requirements for high availability, for performance, and so on. And then App Engine will use a curated template from its catalog to just stand up an environment that you can use. Yeah. So you don't have to implement all these controls and measures by yourself, but you can simply use something that's already curated. So lots of exciting stuff there. Let me double check. Tanzu Application Service. Yeah. I think it's really, really good to see that VMware is now explicitly investing in Tanzu Application Service. They have done so the last couple of years. I know a lot of Cloud Foundry customers were a bit worried that VMware was going to drop the product entirely. It's not the case, not at all. VMware has reaffirmed that they are very heavily invested in Cloud Foundry and the Tanzu Application Service. And just by having it in the keynote, the announcements around AI capabilities for TES, a lot of other features that they announced, I think it's really good to see and hopefully reassuring to our customers who are using a Tanzu Application Service that it's definitely here to stay and there's no need to get off the platform at all. Yeah. A lot of stuff around Tanzu, Tom. Let me double check if I missed anything because there's so much stuff going on there. I think this covers it mostly. Nah.
Maybe one more? Maybe one more, Jeff?
I'm going to do one more thing. Tanzu Data Hub. Yeah. I think that's also very interesting to see. It's in tech preview. It's a bit similar in functionality as the DSM, the Data Services Manager for VCF, which we'll cover in a bit. But the whole idea is that you can quite easily bring the cloud experience to your Tanzu platform, regardless of where it runs. So if you need a database, a MySQL database, a Gemfire database, whatever, you can simply select it from the console or using the API, of course, and it will be provisioned for you. So it's kind of on-demand storage for your modern applications. So again, yeah, really great way of visualizing it all in the central place in the Tanzu Data Hub. Yeah. Yeah, this is a lot to cover. We'll definitely going to dive a bit deeper in upcoming sessions, I assume.
So many amazing announcements in the cloud native space. I mean, VMware is definitely here to stay in that area, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, good time for me now to catch my breath a bit before we dive into the next topic.
Yeah, indeed. And you already gave it away, but I've so many announcements about the VMware Cloud Foundation as well, and that brings us obviously to the multi-cloud strategy. Yeah. So what do you want to share about these VCF announcements, Jeff?
Yeah, so VMware Cloud Foundation, VCF, it's at the heart of VMware's VMware Cloud strategy. Yeah. And it's good to explain it a bit because sometimes I can see customers are a bit confused by all the offerings. VMware Cloud is available on premises as VCF. Yeah. It's available as a managed service through the hyperscalers, and it's available through partners like the Equinixes of these worlds, so the service providers. And you can consume this on-prem, on the edge, and on the hyperscalers and in partner managed clouds. So that's the foundation, right? That's VCF. It's very clear this will be 100% focus area for VMware in the future. Also post Broadcom, the message is very clear. This, the whole multi-cloud strategy of VMware has always been run your workloads where they run best, from a cost perspective, from a security perspective, all the requirements that you have around your application, run it where it runs best. That can be on native public cloud, that can be on VMware Cloud, on-prem, regardless of where it runs. So, really exciting to see all these new announcements. What I found really interesting is that in Las Vegas at Explore, they announced and launched version 5.0, which is a completely new architecture for VCF. No more messy migrations during major upgrades, in-place upgrades. I think it's really important that path is now finally there. Absolutely. Let's be honest, a lot of customers have felt a lot of pain from these migrations, and it's good to see that VMware is really on track with this new version. And in 5.1, already now announced NG8 in Barcelona, there are some pretty exciting new features there as well. So just to reinstate their focus on AI, they doubled the max capacity on amount of GPUs that you can have in a VCF environment per host. And they're now leveraging the new vSAN ESA architecture. So they introduced a new storage architecture in vSAN 8.0, which has higher performance, higher scalability. Well, it's better and bigger and faster in every sense. And they're now bringing it into VCF 5.1, which opens up a whole new bunch of use cases. They're bringing VPCs, virtual private clouds, into VCF. Finally, it's been available in public clouds for many years already. And I think it's really good that this construct is now also available in VCF. Most interestingly, the Data Service Manager 2.0. We already hinted about this new feature. I think it's really, really good to see that we are now bringing really the cloud experience into the data center. So if you need a database, a MySQL database, whatever you need, if you need a storage layer, for example, you can just stand it up using the Data Service Manager. And it's all in a single control plane. So just to visualize it, what VMware did for storage, for example, so abstracting away all the complexity of the underlying storage infrastructure, they're basically doing the same now for databases with the Data Service Manager. So exciting space to be in. There are lots of detailed sessions at Explore that people can watch online. I think it's a really, really great step into the new future of VMware.
Wow, so many announcements on all these levels. There were also announcements on the end-user computing space, but I invited Johan to come to the studio to tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely.
But is there any other announcement, maybe a last one that you wanted to share something with us?
When I was preparing this, Tom, I could fill a whole hour, but let's be conscious of time. But I do want to highlight maybe two security-focused announcements. The first one is VMware Live Recovery, which is kind of the next evolution of VMware Cloud Disaster Recovery. So focus mostly on ransomware attacks. You can very easily now replicate your data to an air-gapped, isolated recovery environment. You can bring it up there and do all kinds of like forensics and threat hunting and so on. That was already available. What they're now doing is bringing all the offerings that do something with disaster recovery, like the traditional site recovery manager that we all know. You can tie it all into one flexible license bundle, and it's all in a single control plane. There's Carbon Black, the next-gen antivirus, embedded into it, so that you're sure that what you're replicating into that next cloud or that next site is always safe and scanned. And tied to this announcement is the intelligent threat detection, which is really interesting because they're using this new snapshot technology coming in at vSAN ESA architecture. And what they're now doing is they're doing kind of AI machine learning analysis on these snapshots. So not on your production data, but on your cold data, to do early detection of encryption events. So let's say that you are attacked and there's a ransomware attack going on and massive amounts of data are being changed, encrypted at the same time. Then intelligent threat detection will see that and will alert you so you can take measures. So on the whole ransomware chain, VMware now has really compelling solutions from detect to prevent to respond to. They're basically covering it all.
So many announcements, Jeff. If a customer needs help, what does he do?
Call us.
ITQ, okay. Thank you very much, Jeffrey, for having provided this comprehensive overview.
Welcome.
Hey, folks, cloud native is very important for VMware. A lot of announcements, and Robert Klooster has had an interview with Betty Junod, where they talked about platform engineering, the importance of building the right teams to take care of cloud native projects, and the role partners can play in that. So let's have a look at that interview.
Hi, this is Robert from ITQ. I'm here with Betty Junod.
Hello.
Hi, nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
How's your week been so far?
Oh, it's been jam-packed, as always. So I'm sure I'm going to crash right after the conference.
Yes, cool. Yeah, so what do you do at VMware?
So I run the product, technical, and marketing and developer relations teams for the Modern Apps and Management group.
That's awesome, cool. So I know you were at Docker for a while. You come from a very kind of open source ecosystem. So VMware's obviously plugged into the open source ecosystem a lot. We're building a lot of platforms using that tool set, basically enabling customers to do cloud native and to do it at scale, do it in the enterprise, do it as well as on-prem as in public cloud, and across those two. So platform engineering is something we focus on a lot at ITQ. Tell us what VMware is doing around platform and what some of these changes in the Tanzu portfolio have been doing around consolidating that story.
Yeah, so platform engineering, it's like the biggest buzzword right now. And it's really kind of it's the next evolution of the centralized technical team. And what we've seen is that the adoption of things like cloud, open source, and all these technologies has happened kind of at a grassroots level in many of our customers. So individual teams have done that, and they're reaching the point of like, oh my gosh, everything is a snowflake. So how do we secure that? How do we manage that? How do we look at that? So now there's this movement to kind of re-centralize some of those things, and what those need to be is delivered as a service internally, and that's really where platform engineering comes in. So now you have a central group that's like saying, if we need data, okay, what are the kind of data services? Let's define a standard for messaging, right? And then we'll deliver that as a service with a certain SLA and a cost to my teams, all the lines of business. And that's really what we're doing. So from a platform perspective, first it's all about anchoring to an application platform. So we have Tanzu Application Service, which is the pivotal Cloud Foundry-based solution.
Familiar with this.
It's amazing, people love it. And then we also have Tanzu Application Platform, which is taking the composable approach and built on Kubernetes, like the cloud native construct. So, and we see customers interested in both, right? Because each app is different. To that platform, we have Spring just baked in, so it's a seamless experience for running Spring applications, best place to run Spring. And then we're having the data services and the intelligence services plug right into the platform. Yeah.
So platform engineering is an interesting challenge for a lot of organizations because it brings together traditional infrastructure and then developers. To make platforms successful, we need a lot more than just the technology, right? We need advocacy, we need hero teams, right? And one of the things we do is we help bootstrap platform teams with our customers to try and make them successful. What I'm seeing in the Tanzu portfolio is a lot of tools that are going to make that easier. So we talked about TAP. There's this whole ecosystem of services emerging now that will be able to help customers run platform and productize it across multiple clouds. So I've been looking at Tanzu Hub, for example. Very powerful what's happening there, getting all that information up. But especially if you think of it from an enterprise point of view, guardrails. So it's both golden paths, but also how do I make things conformant, secure.
Shifting left, right?
Yep, shifting left, and how do I self-service this?
Yes.
Because it's the that last mile to developers. That's always going to be the challenge. Within customers, what are you seeing around the kind of the roles that are emerging around how to fill all these platform teams, but also how to do that mile to developers, that service delivery, and to really connect with how they would like to work with these platforms?
Yeah, that's a great question because, we're saying like platform engineering is a new thing, and it's not like all these enterprises are going to magically find hundreds and thousands of these people, right? What I have seen in all the conversations and meetings I've had with a lot of these large enterprises is that they're already doing some parts of these practices today. If you're running a centralized service and you're delivering that, even a compute service to a different team inside the company, you're doing a compute platform, right? You're providing that. What we're now doing with the iteration of platform engineering today is like it's an evolution so that there's more things delivered as a centralized product to your teams. So I have seen that it's upskilling some of the current infrastructure teams, applying those same practices, but to like a data product. Am I doing other application services? What are those, right? It's just building out that inventory. A CIO at a bank, right? They have to run everything on-prem because of the regulatory requirements. they said, you need to think about, to his team, you need to think about your team, your biggest competition as being, what if that person could just go swipe a credit card and log in? How can you deliver that service in that same super easy way? Very, very clear on how to use. So that's the kind of thinking that I'm seeing CIOs bring to their teams internally. And if you're delivering like a database service, you're not just responsible for just the database. Now you actually have to think of it end to end. So you have to think about what operating system it's going to run on, what infrastructure it's going to run on, how are they going to access it, self-serve access it, how will you govern it, and then how will you, what's your SLAs for it? So it's small changes in thinking more end to end versus my single piece.
Yeah. And it requires some more of that enterprise architecture thinking, yes. But now including how to do a very cloud-native service-style delivery, self-service delivery, which might be quite different from the kind of more traditional ITIL-based approaches to how to provision IT or how to put IT in the hands of your users. It's very fascinating, kind of world. Yeah. It's kind of cutting edge, and we love helping our customers kind of make that journey and talking to them about how they can think about these problems, how they can do that adoption, not just the technology side, which VMware is making increasingly easier, but also on that people and process side,
absolutely.
Which is where the big challenge really is in adoption. We're a VMware partner, have been for a long time. We're very big into cloud native now as part of the many.
We love our partners.
Yep. So what do you think? How do you feel the role of partners is in this ecosystem? I mean, what is it that we can do to help make us and our customers more successful?
Well, I mean, partners are critical, right? If we think about, there's only so much reach that VMware has, right? And with the partner ecosystem, within the regions and the industries that you're involved in, you know those customers, you know those organizations, you know their business. You also know everything they have, from what kind of technologies they're using and the years in which their transformations, the ones that worked and the ones that didn't. So it's with that knowledge, and then your collective knowledge of working with many different technologies, many different organizations is, one, you bring best practice, right? So you know how to evolve. You know how many customers may have been successful or not been successful. You're bringing all that knowledge to a single customer. You have depth of knowledge with them because you've been with them on the journey. And then your partnership with us, our technology, and you're able to kind of do that last mile. So it's not just the widget, but how is that platform going to work at this company? So I mean, I think partners are critical to our success, so your success is our success.
Absolutely.
And ultimately the customer's success.
Which is what we do it for, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and good luck, and we'll probably speak again very soon.
Yes, thank you. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome back in the studio. I am very delighted that I can now welcome Johan Van Amersfoort, Technologist at ITQ in the studio. Welcome, Johan.
Thanks for having me.
How was your week in Barcelona? A lot of partying and vino and tapas?
Well, I had a lot of tapas. Unfortunately, didn't really party, and that's maybe
work.
That's it. It's work. It's really awesome work, but it is work. So, on average, I woke up, went to the gym at 6:30 in the morning, prepared myself for the working day, and most of the times at 8 a.m. So 8 in the morning, I arrived at Vira to start meetings, prepare for presentations, and every single day ended at 11, 12ish.
Yeah.
And it's you need to be top of your game. So I don't drink or drink little, and you need to be sharp. So no partying.
Absolutely. Let's get an elephant out of the room first.
Oh
Johan.
man, yeah.
The Broadcom VMware acquisition.
Yeah. So you already briefly talked about the acquisition. Francisco just mentioned something about that. One thing I definitely want to share around it is that we really got the feeling and the vibe that VMware EUC is still heading a certain direction, and they're doing all they can to get investments to get as many people from the executive board were at Explore. So it was as nothing is happening right now. It's business as usual. They're growing, and I think the vibe around EUC was really good.
Cool. you're all about EUC. It's your
Yeah.
passion, your work, but your passion as well, right? So, any particular announcements, Johan, that you've heard that you want to talk about?
Right, so we got a bunch of announcements, and what's really cool is that those announcements are focused at VMware, but there's a lot of stuff happening around other partners as well. And the first one I want to mention, and it's a particular one I'm proud of, is the announcement around Chip to Cloud. So Chip to Cloud is a collaboration between VMware and Intel. And what it basically means is that we as ITQ have been working with both parties, specifically Intel, to manage endpoints from the hardware part or point of view using vPro. And for a long time, we only had the EMA management suite from Intel to do that and to integrate that with Workspace ONE Intelligence. What you can now do is basically, without those additional management components, talk directly to hardware from Workspace ONE Intelligence. Okay. At first, just from a management perspective, but what's really cool is that VMware is focusing on vulnerability management, so the security aspect of things, and use the same platform to do so. So you can patch hardware from the ground up, from the hardware level up, without the end user having to do anything. And I think this is really, really, really powerful. We have some customers that have like kiosk-based machines, or have thin clients, or like desktops with a specific function somewhere in their office, or in in healthcare, for instance. And the ability to manage those endpoints without any help of end users or any help of IT from a physical perspective, that's great. So I think Chip to Cloud is really awesome.
Nice.
Next one is Mac management. So I think Workspace ONE really excels when it comes to Mac management, but when you compare like the functionality you have from a Windows perspective or a Mac perspective, Windows is always like the most feature-rich, if you will. I think that's slowly going to change. So Mac management, a new version of it has been announced with a lot of more features, stuff like enrollment, out-of-the-box enrollment, stuff like that will be added, but also things like hub health. So you can use the hub, the intelligent hub, to determine all sorts of health-related metrics. Security baselines will be added, so that's pretty cool. And something that I'm really enthusiastic about is declarative management. So you basically can create a kind of a configuration file or configuration state, if you will, and push that configuration state to an endpoint, to a Mac endpoint, and determine like this is what I want the end state of such an endpoint to be. So it's how configuration management in 2023 should look like. So that's pretty cool.
Nice.
The application side of the portfolio has some announcements as well. So App Volumes, there were a lot of stuff happening around App Volumes, and it's pretty cool. We had a couple of talks with Jeff Ulatowski, who owns App Volumes within VMware. And one thing that really gets me enthusiastic is the integration between App Volumes and DEEM. So DEEM is Digital Employee Experience Monitoring or Management, and it's basically the monitoring component of Workspace ONE Intelligence. And you can now integrate App Volumes applications into DEEM to pull in application telemetry. And I think that's really powerful when it comes to like the future of DEEM, because the application part was something that was not covered yet. Also really awesome is that App Volumes is spreading its wings, which in this case means quite literal, because App Volumes to the cloud, like there are different types of cloud offerings that now can be integrated with App Volumes. So take a look at, for instance, AWS AppStream. AppStream 2.0 now has App Volumes functionality baked in, which means you can create an application package through App Volumes, push it to AppStream, and have your application lifecycle management processes extended to cloud. And it's not just working with AWS AppStream, but also with AVD app streaming. So the Microsoft kind of application delivery component. Finally, I think this is really cool. ARIA Operations has, ARIA, which we used to know as vRealize Operations, always had Horizon support and Horizon integration, but mostly focused on the management of the components, like are my connection servers online? How are my UAGs performing? Is my certificate still valid? So stuff like that. But what they did now is also pull in experience telemetry. So look at like user experience related data. Is my connection protocol still like, is my connection performing well? What are the connection protocol metrics? Do I have latency? Stuff like that is being pulled into ARIA operations. Especially if you take the cloud version of that, that shows near real-time information. Okay. So I think the combination of ARIA Ops Cloud and getting that Horizon telemetry in from an experience perspective is really, really awesome. Yeah.
One of the main topics of VMware Explore was about AI and private AI. How does that tie into end-user computing?
Yeah, so you know, so no session is complete without talking about AI, right? So I think if you look at the EUC portfolio or end-user computing as a whole, I think there's a couple of things really cool that are happening right now. One thing is that an endpoint currently needs to be powerful enough to run certain AI workloads on the device. Take a look at, for instance, Apple now has a feature in their camera solution that if you like use the right hand gestures, it automatically does something like a pop-up fireworks or show hearts or show a thumbs up, stuff like that. That is running on the device itself. Now, if you would want to do that on a Windows-based device and offload that to a CPU, that's kind of challenging. So what we're seeing is that Intel has been building new chips that have specific AI kind of chiplets built into the CPU package. And if you look at like, coming back to your question, what's the impact of AI on EUC? I think this is one of the first things that we're slowly seeing. So hardware is getting, PC hardware or endpoint hardware is getting specific chiplets to handle AI-related workloads that run locally. Second thing is if you take a look at AI-related workloads that run inside Workspace ONE, I think like Workspace ONE itself has been using machine learning for a while now. So one of the announcements from Vegas, so a couple of months ago already, was around DEEM and anomaly detection. So if you have enough endpoints in your environment, and like let's say 1,000 or 1,500, and you see some endpoints showing some kind of behavior, Workspace ONE intelligence will show you that in sort of a report and can help you suggest to remediate certain issues. So if, for instance, 10 of those endpoints are kind of look alike and they show purple, like blue screens of death, you can automatically create remediation steps based on those anomalies. And that's all based on machine learning. So it's kind of, well, it's a form of artificial intelligence. And I think the last bit to that is like no solution is ready without, or is complete without chatbot, right? So, or Gen AI. And what we're gonna see in the next couple of months, it has been announced already, it has been showed at in the What's New in Workspace ONE or the Anywhere Workspace session, is a generative AI integration into Workspace ONE. So you could use a like natural language to create sensors in Workspace ONE that, for instance, pull information out of a GPU or pull information out of a certain Windows feature, so or a Windows part of Windows. So you'll be able to use a kind of a chat bot to create those sensors for you. So I think this is really there's a lot happening when combining AI and the EUC in this case.
Wow, thank you very much for this recap, Johan. If customers need help, we have an awesome end-user computing team available.
Oh, absolutely. A couple of them are actually on this slide. So
absolutely. Thank you very much for sharing, Johan. So hey, if you want to find out how Johan almost shot with a t-shirt gone through the roof of the venue. Make sure to check out the short live interview with a VMware recap that Jeffrey and Johan did together in Barcelona. Now, we have heard about a lot of announcements and technologies, but actually we have also done something different in Barcelona. A very interesting technology that, very unfortunately interesting and important technology that has been talked about is NetClean, who has an amazing solution for CSAM, a child sexual abuse material, spotting that material on computers and IT systems. We have done a joint presentation about that with NetClean and VMware at VMworld. So let's listen to what our own Thom Vessies had to say about that.
Hi, welcome everybody at the ITQ live stream. My name is Johan Van Amersfoort and I'm standing here next to Thom Vessies, who just gave a talk. Tom, tell me something about it. How did it go?
I hope it went well. But,
I heard a lot of applause before you came out, so that went well.
I think based on the reactions, we can be satisfied about it. But it's an important topic, so I was very happy to see that there was a lot of crowd in the room. So that
you say it's an important topic. So what was your talk about then?
Yeah, so we spoke about NetClean, which is a company providing software for detection of child sexual abuse material and other kinds of other illicit materials. And this is something that really gives a risk to a business continuity. So for organizations, they are mostly focusing on ransomware detection, make sure that their environment is secured from a technical perspective. But this is an entire different situation around security. So this is really much about, okay, how can you make sure that your organization is free of illicit material like CSAM? Research done by NetClean showed that 1 out of 500 corporate devices is being used to consume CSAM. So that's the reason why this is really an important topic to discuss.
But don't companies think that privacy of their employees is in danger when you use it like this?
Yeah, the software of NetClean is very smart. So how it works basically is that material will be classified by law enforcement when material is being found and really is being researched as CSAM. Then via a hash technology that NetClean uses, we can scan environments on specifically these materials.
So it only targets materials that were found without jeopardizing the privacy of employees.
So there are no false positives or no mistakes that are being made. It's only based on material that has been classified as CSAM or other illicit material.
But I think that most of the viewers will know ITQ as a VMware partner and have a lot of knowledge about VMware. How does this fit into it?
Yeah, I think we have a really good collaboration where you talk about VMware, NetClean and ITQ. So from a technical perspective, VMware and NetClean integrate with each other from the end user perspective. So we can integrate with Workspace ONE, we can integrate with Carbon Black to make sure that agents are deployed, agents are being managed, monitored, but also doing forensics when there is found an incident. And ITQ, from an ITQ perspective, so we add to the story in a way that we can really be this one-stop shop for customers. So we provide a solution, we make sure that it's being managed. We can support customers by incident handling. So we have a blueprint incident process to support customers to make sure that after an incident happens, that the right things are happening. Also towards police enforcement, etc. So our added value is mostly around full commitment towards our customers.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Tom, for the insights in NetClean and our proposition.
You're welcome.
And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll hope to see you again. Thanks.
See you next time.
Hey, welcome back in the ITQ studio. I am now very happy that I have the occasion to ask a couple of questions to Francisco, founder of ITQ. Hey, Francisco, welcome back in the Netherlands.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. It's great to be here again in our headquarters in Beverwijk.
Yeah. Always a pleasure. Hey, in VMware Explore there was a lot to do about private AI. Also Jeff has talked to us already about that. The question I am asking there for myself is, what is your take on that private AI thing, and more importantly even, what does that really mean for our customers, Francisco?
Yeah, I think that's the important part. So everybody is talking about AI, and I think we are all seeing now that there are coming more and more applications who can really use it. What I think it's important that we have a very big customer set already with private data centers, private clouds based on the beautiful technology of VMware. Customers are very happy with it. And then you have this new AI thing. Most companies think, customers think you have to run that on the public cloud. Well, that's actually not true. You can run your AI workloads very easily based on the VMware stack in your own data center. VMware built some practices around that. You don't have to invest in new software or new hardware, or maybe some new hardware if you have a lot of workloads. But you can land your own private AI in your own private data center out of the box already. There are some practices. The only challenge is, of course, that you need sometimes in the beginning of the technology a lot of machine learning, and also about that VMware taught, and it's very good possible now that you first do some learning, language learning in a public or in another environment, and you can bring that then to your private environment, especially in Europe with the sovereignty. That's always a hot topic. You want to protect your IP. Yeah. I think this is one of the big things that is now coming. So we call it private AI, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, a lot of very interesting conversations coming up with our customers about that.
Yeah, I know that our people really love to talk about it too. I can imagine that there are some more videos that we are going to share more in detail what this proposition is all about.
Absolutely. Also, Håkan from Broadcom, spent some time on stage during the keynote, and he was clearly there to reassure the audience worldwide that they are going to continue to invest in innovation, they are going to continue to invest in partners to help customers, and they are going to make sure that the Broadcom VMware is going to be easy to deal with. Mm-hmm. Now, we took a beautiful picture there in Barcelona, and I noticed, Francisco, that you're not on the picture. And somebody told me that was because at that time you had a one-on-one with Håkan. Yeah. So how was that conversation? How did you walk away from that conversation?
Yeah, and again, I was not on the picture. It's like for the third year in a row that I having a meeting during the picture moment. But it was for a good reason. So for everybody who's watching our video and who have no clue who Håkan is, he's responsible of Broadcom, and Broadcom is the company that acquired VMware. It's still in the phase of acquisition, but it's going to be close between now and fast. Maybe when you watch it, it's already closed. That's a very big move for the VMware organization, of course. Broadcom bought the company for more than $61 billion. Yeah. So you can be sure of the fact that they will not throw it away. It's a very important strategic decision for them. What I learned in my conversations with Håkan is that first of all, this is a person who can execute very hard and very smart. So there are plans and he will execute them. And I think the things that I heard were all in the benefit of our customers. Yeah. The big things there are they're going to make a separate business unit of digital workspace, EUC, so they can have a super focused approach on what's best for the customers on the digital workspace. Yep. No more influence from other business units, focus on innovation and bringing that product to the next level. Håkan is talking a lot about VMware Cloud Foundation, VCF. Yep. It's actually vSphere in combination with networking and storage in one layer. And his mindset around that is that it should be a stack that's easy to consume for a super fair price, and you should rely on it. Updates should work, and I think that maybe 75% of all his investments will go into there to make a super easy to use and consume product. So VCF will be super important for the next few years. Yeah. It's also the fundament of everybody's private cloud. It's the fundament of moving out workloads to the hyperscalers. So I think that's a smart strategy. And of course, on top of it, there will be a new business unit, Tanzu, where also ARIA is a part of it. And all the products they are building should be working seamless on the VCF stack. Yeah, very positive about his approach, how we see the partner ecosystem doing that, and the investments that he's going to make in the products. So I think the right things for the next couple of years.
Yeah, a great place to be for partners that have invested a lot in building the knowledge of all these platforms that you and Haktan are referring to. So
exactly.
The future is looking very interesting.
Yeah, I think we are in the right position because value add is the magic word. So especially customers who need the technology but don't have the skill sets in their organization, it's a perfect place for us to bring value to our customers.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Francisco. Your feedback is providing us with a very full picture of what has been going on last week. Maybe one last question before we end this conversation. Is there anything else about the event that you wanted to share with us?
Well, so VMware Explore used to be VMworld. It's the old name. Since 3 years now, it's VMware Explore.
I'm still calling it VMworld between us.
Me too. I know. But what you're seeing is that it's still the industry event. So if you go to the exhibition area, all the big names are there, like the Oracles, like the NetApps, like mention it, Microsoft, of course. The vibe there is very good. You see the connection between all the vendors and VMware and how they interact and how they are trying to create customer solutions. And also this year, I think there were more than 50 ITQ customers in Barcelona. I remember that every evening I had a dinner with or the Belgium team or the Luxembourg team or the France team or the German team or the Dutch team. It were a lot of dinners, but it's a good thing to do in Barcelona. But also in the event you could feel the vibe around this whole topic. And again, I heard a lot of customers talking about their private data centers with a lot of sovereignty on the top of it and protection of their IP. I was very excited. More than 12,000 people. I think it was a super good event.
Yeah, thank you very much, Francisco, for sharing this with us. You know, an industry event is about the technology, VMware Explore, but it's also about the community and people meeting up, getting together. In one of the live interviews that we did, you can hear much more about VMware Advantage. But let's now have a look at the short interview that Richard Van Danzig made together with Cory Romero about the vExpert program.
Welcome to ITQ Live at VMware Explore in Barcelona. My name is Richard Van Danzig. I'm SDDC consultant at ITQ, but also one of the vExperts and the vExpert Pro at the company. I'm sitting here directly with Cory Romero. Can you introduce yourself, Cory?
Yeah, my name is Cory Romero. I am a senior community manager for VMware. I've been with VMware for about 15 years now. And the past 11 years I've been running and managing our vExpert program.
So can you explain a bit what the vExpert program is?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the vExpert program is our global evangelist community. So years ago, we had saw that organically we had our community, and they were writing a lot of blog articles, creating content around VMware. Mm-hmm. And so we created this community, this program called vExpert, and we wanted to reward with an actual award, and it's a calendar. The program runs for a calendar year, so the award lasts for 1 calendar year. And we award vExperts or applicants who apply for the vExpert program with this award. And this award it's a highly sought after award. It's not easy to get, as you know, Richard. Yeah. The program benefits, I mean, you get licenses, you've got access to networking, you've got the vExpert party like we went to last night.
Great beers, by the way.
Yes, yeah, I had a great time. We get a private Slack channel, access to the business units through our sub-programs, which I can touch on later. So yeah, it's a fantastic program.
So you said it was an evangelist program. A lot of people in our audience probably think about the vExperts as the gurus on their field. Yeah. Is that needed? Are they all have to be the top notch, the Messies and the Ronaldos?
Absolutely not. Everybody performs and has their own experiences, and those are all at different levels, right? And so On the vExpert site, so vexpert.vmware.com, we have a guide that actually goes over what we're looking for in the program. So, and it gives examples of, the top, messy type, vExperts, and also the requirements. So no, you don't have to be a top person. This is about brand building. It's about sharing your experiences and giving back to the community. That's the number one thing for me, is giving back to the community, and it's giving back on your own personal time. Right. Yeah. So even though I run the program, for me personally to consider myself a vExpert, I like to give back to the vExpert program myself beyond my day job and outside of my work requirements.
Yeah, when I look at ITQ, we have a lot of vExperts, and we have the Messies like Johan Van Amersfoort, but also all the supporting players like myself. Yeah. But also a lot of guys who starting blocks in the last months or last years, and going to do the extra mile, and it's nice that they get rewarded with a really award that has value. Because how many vExperts are there about now at the total global program?
1,500 globally, and Richard, you have 38, right?
We have 38 vExperts.
Yeah, 38 vExperts. That's impressive.
Every year we're still expanding those numbers, and I really hope I can reach the 40 people next year or more.
Yes, that would be fantastic.
So,
yeah.
And do you want to elaborate a bit about sub-programs?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got sub-programs, and what the sub-programs are designed to do, they're designed to give you access directly to the business units, right? It's really difficult, and it doesn't really make much sense to invite vExperts into, let's say, an NSX call when you don't have anything to do with NSX, right? You're not talking about NSX. It's not your forte. So we have these sub-programs that are designed to give you access to the business units, and they focus on the subject matter that you're writing about, sharing about, creating content around, right? And so let's NSX as an example. If you're doing that, you've got one, you have to become a vExpert first, right? That's the first step. And applications are open twice per year. They're going to open again here in December. So next month they'll be opening for the 2024 program. After you become a vExpert in the 2024 program, you then get access to the applications for the sub-programs. So we have 9 total sub-programs. One is our Pro program. I can talk about that in a minute. And 8 of them are product-focused sub-programs. The sub-program, the Pro program, is for those who are looking to help others become vExperts, right? And what does that mean? Well, help with the application, help with feedback on the application. I don't do the voting. The VMware doesn't do the voting. The community actually does the voting, and the ones who do that are the vExpert pros. And so all of the voting for the applicants and who gets the award comes from the community, from the vExpert Pro program.
Yeah, as the VMware vExpert Pro, one of the vExpert Pros in the Netherlands, it's really nice. We have complete feedback about the vExperts for next year. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, sounds great.
For listeners, if you want to have become a vExpert next year, the applications are open. Also, connect to me or one of the other vExpert Pros in the program. You can just look it up on the vExpert.com, the vExpert.vmware.com website, and there's all the information about it. I want to thank you very much, Corey.
Yeah, thank you as well. And I want to give out my email address.
Yeah.
So if you have questions for me, if you want to reach out to me directly, my email address is cromero@vmware.com. Always happy to help. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me or the vExpert Pros.
Perfect.
Thank you.
1,500 vExperts globally is what Corey just told us, right? Well, 38 of these are ITQers, and about a dozen of those have delivered sessions at VMware Explore this year, sharing their experiences and information with the audience. If you want to become a vExpert, please think about also writing blogs and sharing your experience with the community, and make sure to submit your application to become vExpert as well. Hey, this wraps up our VMware Explore recap session. I hope you liked it. I hope you got a lot of information out of it. Definitely make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because there are many, many more live interviews available over there that we haven't had the opportunity to include in this program. Please also make sure to connect to our LinkedIn channel if you haven't done so, and to make sure you stay updated on all the exciting news